We have the two options. We can upload the audio file, which is really going to make this much, much easier. Because once you upload your audio file, you're going to be able to listen to yourself, and whenever there's a scoring unit, you're going to hit on it, and your audio file is going to stop automatically. If you don't want to do that, if you want to skip this step, you're going to play and pause your audio file from the device, from a separate device that you used. But check this out. This case, for example, is a violation of probation hearing, and this works in the way that real tests for interpreters work, which is you have a transcript. Everything that was said in the practice is transcribed here. And there are certain words that are scoring units. In a real test, these are the words that you have to hit. These are the words that you have to interpret correctly. So, of course, once you upload your audio file, you're going to hit the play button. Or if you skip that step, you're going to hit the play button on your separate device. As you listen to what you said, you're going to go ahead and follow along here in the transcript. Whenever you see a scoring unit, you're first going to hear what you interpreted. Once you have heard your interpretation, then you're going to click on here, and you'll see this pop-up window will come up, and it'll tell you the source language term and different target language equivalents. We usually give you more than one. You're going to say, did I interpret that correctly, incorrectly, or do I have to research that? Let's say we got it right. As soon as we grade that, your voice recording, if you uploaded that file, is going to resume playing, and you're going to continue doing the same thing. Listen to what you said as you follow along with the transcript. You heard what you interpreted, then you click on it. If you're using your own audio recording, you're going to pause it, and then you're going to read this and say, did I say any of these things? If I did, and I know I got it right, I click correct, I keep listening, and I'm going to do the same thing. In this case, let's say I got it wrong. I keep listening to my interpretation as I follow along here. I first hear what I said, then I click on it. If I'm using my own audio file separately, of course I have to pause it separately, but if you uploaded it, it's going to pause automatically. Let's say, you know what, I didn't say any of these things, but I think I got it right. I need to research that. Then you click on research. And you're going to do exactly the same thing with each one of these scoring units until you've graded your full practice. So here we are. We've graded all of the different scoring units. We're now going to go to the last one. We're going to go ahead and grade it. As you can see, when we grade it, they change color. And you're going to continue listening to yourself as you follow along with the transcript. And you have to make sure that you've checked all of those, that you've graded all of your vocabulary units, because they've all turned green. Once you see, yep, everything is green, there's nothing blue, I've checked all of them, then you're going to be able to hit the submit button. And if you have any scoring units to research, if you were unsure about anything, it's going to tell you, look up that vocabulary unit below in a reputable dictionary or glossary. Always take the opportunity to check that. Don't just trust, this is how I've been saying it for years, I'm going to keep saying it. No, go ahead and check it to make sure that you find it in a reputable source. If you say, you know what, I got it wrong, you would mark here. Or you know what, I was saying it correctly. Then you mark this one. And then you submit it. And that's when the magic happens. The system is going to tell you which terms you got right and which terms you got wrong. It's always a good idea to take note of the ones that you got wrong so you can work on those terms. And the system is going to give you an actual score. If it's more than 80% or more, it'll tell you to move on. If is 79% or less, it'll tell you to keep working. So in here, we're going to write in the name of this lab. In this case, it was violation of probation. I'm going to give you the date, how many times I've done this lab, because remember, your weekly planner has you do it repeatedly. So in this case, let's say it was the second time. We took note of the amount of words that this lab has, if it's a consecutive. if it was a consecutive, if it was decelerated or normal, if it was a simultaneous, how many words per minute, and if it was a sight translation practice, we mark here sight translation. This is where you're going to grade yourself. You're going to grade yourself on how accurate you were. So it's not just the terms that were underlined, the score units that we underlined. In general, how was your accuracy from 1 to 10? How was your completeness? Did you have everything interpreted, or were there things that you didn't interpret? You're going to grade yourself. Did you use terms that sound natural? Go ahead and grade yourself. How were your grammatical or syntactic adaptations? Were you sounding the way you should naturally sound in the target language? How fluid? Were you hesitating a lot, or did you have few hesitations? Were you very fluid sounding? You're going to grade yourself. If you had to correct yourself, were there smooth self-corrections, or were they a little awkward? Did you have a poker voice? Remember, we always have to sound assertive. So you're going to grade yourself. How was your volume? Sometimes we speak very softly and people can't hear us. How was your pace? Especially when we're doing the sight translation, we want to have a nice pace. But also in the consecutive and the simultaneous, we want to know how our pace was, if it was, people could understand what we were saying. And then finally, we're going to put a comment. So for example, in this case, we say work on self-corrections. And then we're going to hit submit. And that's how we get our certificate of completion. It's going to tell us the type of practice we were doing, the date, our self-evaluation, and down here, the vocabulary score we got.